Next question is all about outsourcing SEO. So this is a big one. We get asked probably once a day or every other day, who do you recommend to do SEO for me? Or do you have a vendor that can do my white labeled SEO? Or do you have somebody that I can just pay to do my SEO or my SEO outsourcing? And I want to once and for all, hopefully nip this question in the bud, so to speak. Is it nip it in the butt? Nip it in the bud? I'm not really sure, but I want to really tackle this question once and for all. All right, so at the end of the day, why would you want to outsource your SEO? I mean, labor costs couldn't be better, or labor prices can be better. At the end of the day, though, I think the biggest thing is that you scale your time and you save some money, right? At the end of the day, that's why everybody should be outsourcing, right? Give me a 2 in the chat if you're trekking along. That makes sense, right? Right, Frankie? Right, Philip? At the end of the day, I see some people have a very negative connotation with outsourcing. There's nothing wrong with it. Like sometimes us Americans especially, like we think we're just freaking smarter than everybody, and it couldn't be further than the truth, right? There's nothing wrong with outsourcing. And, depending on different economies, people make different wages. There's nothing wrong with utilizing different parts of the world and using that to your benefit, right? Ryan Claudio that's on the call is from the Philippines, right? Quite a few members on our team are. They're just as smart as you are, right? They just are raised from somewhere else, right? Their economy is different. Things cost different amounts of money. Okay, I completely agree. I completely support the Philippines as well. In fact, if I didn't outsource in specific parts of my business and businesses over the years, I wouldn't have been able to scale, and therefore I wouldn't have been able to really hire Americans, period. Right? Because, somebody right out of college wants at least 50 grand a year just to start, right? And then you got to pay them, right? You got to pay them all, you got to pay the government all the taxes and all the fees on top of their wage, right? W-2 employees are expensive, okay? So thank God for outsourcing, or my business, I'm sure, wouldn't be where it is at today. Okay, I think though that unfortunately, 99% probably, 9 out of 10 at least of the people that I speak to are completely outsourcing wrong. Some of them felt like they've gotten burned, right? Some of them have just had horrible experiences. Some of them are left with just kind of a lackluster, like, yeah, that didn't really work. And so what I want to share with you guys today is the shift in mindset that I believe that you need to have in order to outsource correctly. See, I need you to think about this in a different aspect, right? Have a different train of thought, okay? I don't want you to think that I'm going to train someone to do your SEO, right? Or you're going to train someone to do your client's SEO that you're getting paid for, right? Instead, you should train someone to geotag images for Google My Business and set the corresponding or correct categories inside of GMB. You'll want to train somebody how to create location pages on your website. Come up with a process for that. Do 100% train someone to go set up pillow links for your site. And by pillow links, I mean citations. I mean Web 2.0 sites, right? Local directories, okay? All of the things that you've been taught. By all means, 100% do train someone to do an indexing audit once per month. I have a great tutorial for you guys on our website all about that, right? Take that process, go through it, understand it yourself. And once you understand it yourself, you run it for yourself, right? Then put that into a system that you have done once a month by somebody else, okay? At the end of the day, you want to train on micro processes like this, okay? You don't want to outsource just your SEO. Trust me when I say you're asking for a pile of shit and a lot of fucking problems. You are, okay? You have to break everything down into bite-sized pieces that literally anybody could follow. Just looking at my notes here, making sure I hit everything. So for me, once we get done with a process or creating a standard operating procedure, okay, you want to go through and you want to look at it with a different set of eyes. So you want to take a couple-minute break. And this just happened the other day. We were bringing on and onboarding some designers for our new site at Digital Triggers. Okay, so we created a brief, okay, for the designers. Here's what we want our featured images to look like. Okay, and I had Xandro, one of the team members on our team, write this thing up, and designers started submitting, right, work for the featured images, and all of them are getting everything wrong, like all of them. I'm like, hey man, Xandro, knock knock, can I see that brief? We need to chat about this. Everybody's getting this wrong. If everybody's getting it wrong, are the directions really that easy to understand? He's like, good point. And so I went and looked at it, and it was complicated, right? Everything was repeated 3 and 4 times, but in other sentences, and it wasn't short and to the point and easy to understand. You couldn't just look at it and in 30 seconds or 60 seconds understand what the hell you were supposed to do. No, like it was just too complex and too diluted to make any sense, right? So now, guess what? We fixed it. We cut it down, and we're already getting better responses back. We're getting better work back. So just a real life case study and real life use case for you guys, all right? Again, as the entrepreneur, like we talked about in the last video, your job is to blaze the trail, all right? To figure out what to do, to figure out how to do it, to actually do it yourself, right? And then hand it off to somebody else to do it for you, okay? So turn to the experts in life for training. Okay, if it wasn't for me and hiring experts and paying them a whole lot of money, I wouldn't have the knowledge that I have today, okay, and I wouldn't be here today. Take those things, implement them into your business. It might take a little tweak to make them work perfectly, right? Systematize it, hand it off to somebody else to run day in and day out on your behalf. Okay, then all you got to do is manage the expectation. And that's one of the things that I don't talk about a lot, is once you turn it over, you got to make sure that you have an easy system, okay, to follow, to make sure that the train isn't running off the tracks. Okay, if it takes you an hour, okay, to QA the person or to actually make sure that your outsourcer is doing the job correctly, and it's taking the outsourcer an hour to do the task, you're just washing out your time, right? So you gotta figure out what the KPIs are, the key performance indicators. What do you have to look at so that in as little time as possible, you can ensure that the train is on the tracks, the process is being done correctly, and it's getting the end result. So that's it. And I would highly, highly suggest that you guys make me one of those experts that you listen to, so I can help motivate you, I can help guide you. And when you fumble and you fall, we all will, we all do, it's all right. I'll be there to help you back up.